So we're down to the final 4 candidates to replace Rishi Sunak as Conservative leader. So John and I thought we would rank them in terms of who's going to win.
Well, Robert Jenrick is currently the favourite. Then we've got Kemi. Oh, where is she? She's over here. Kemi Badenoch, James Cleverly, and Tom Tugendhat. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to engage in a sort of beauty contest at Tory party conference in Birmingham. They each get to speak for 20 minutes to put their case to the members. But actually, it'll be the MPs who vote first to reduce them to 2. And then the last 2 names get put to the party members who will decide. So what's it going to be?
Well, first of all, John, I think you're being very kind in calling it a beauty contest. Dare I remind you that this is politics, which is show business for ugly people. But I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see, like you say, a parade. And we're going to see quite a lot of these 4 people over the next couple of weeks. And can they change the fortunes of both themselves and their party? Or are they just going to end up with the front runner, and I think you and I disagree over who the front runner is, with the front runner taking the crown?
Well, yes. I mean, at the moment, the bookies say that Robert Jenrick's the front runner, although it started off with Kemi in the lead. I still think Kemi might make it in the end, but the really interesting question before we get there is all the sort of tactical considerations among Tory MPs as to who the final 2 are going to be. Because James Cleverly did extremely well in the first round, not so well in the second round of voting. And there was a lot of talk about how he was the stop Jenrick candidate for the MPs who don't like Robert Jenrick. But I think they're actually going to coalesce behind Kemi as the stop Jenrick candidate, because I think she's got the best chance of beating Robert Jenrick in the final round.
So if we think, and I think we do, that these 2 are edging towards the top, do we both think that these 2 are going to be going out once the MPs have had their votes?
Yes.
Or is there a chance that there might be a late rally?
Well, I mean, Tom Tugendhat, I think, is already too far behind. I think he's in 4th place. He doesn't have enough of a reason for people to vote for him. The big question is, because normally this divides into sort of right versus left. Who's going to be the most right-wing candidate in the final 2? James Cleverly is considered to be a centrist, on the left of the party, although, he was Home Secretary, he voted Leave. They all voted Leave, apart from Tom. The big question is, which of these is going to be considered to be more right-wing by the party members?
Yes, I think you're right. And I think that's fascinating. So at the start of this competition, an awful lot of people thought that there would be a candidate from the right and there would be a One Nation candidate, and that would probably be somewhere between Tom Tugendhat, very much a standard bearer of the right, and could the One Nation, and could James Cleverly pick up enough One Nation? But I think what's happened really is that Tory MPs are interested in jobs. And so we have seen quite a lot of people go behind, not necessarily who they would agree with ideologically, but who they would agree with because they're probably going to be the next leader of the Conservative Party.
Absolutely. There's been quite a bit of, well, I mean, let's be blunt, careerism. Victoria Atkins, One Nation former Health Secretary, came out for Robert Jenrick because she thinks Robert Jenrick's going to win, not because, as you say, not because she agrees with him. But I mean, the question is, right and left, very difficult terms in the modern Tory party. Which of those is the more right wing? I mean, it's hard to say. Right, we're getting rid of the One Nation tendency in the party. Is that the end of One Nation?
I don't think so. I think the One Nation tendency is just they're going to go off, they're going to lick their wounds, and they're going to wait. And they're going to stage a comeback. But this is a tendency within this party that has a long a long and respected history. It isn't going away anytime soon. And to be honest, there are people from that side of the party who think that this is their party, and that it being dragged to the right by some of the more extreme people is not the party they joined.
No, and both of these candidates are presenting themselves as unity candidates who can bring the one nation side of the party with them.
Which is really important, so they know that that's an important side that they've got to appeal to.
And I think that unlike Liz Truss, who, I expected her to move towards the centre ground once she won the leadership, and she didn't, which was absolutely disastrous. I think either of these two will move towards the centre ground of politics, because that, I think, is where elections are won and lost.
That's interesting, because I was going to ask you who you thought Keir Starmer should want to go up against.
He should want to go up against Robert Jenrick, because, Robert Jenrick just looks like another white male politician, whereas Kemi looks different and sounds different and is different. I mean, she does believe in stuff and has said some quite outrageous things. I mean, the only thing that I think can stop her is if she blows up her own campaign.
If you're listening to Robert Jenrick, he does just sound exactly like Rishi Sunak, and Keir Starmer was able to dispatch Rishi Sunak quite easily at PMQs every week. So I think if you were looking from the Labour Party's point of view, I think you would probably want Robert to win.
Kemi, it is then.
And what we should say as well is whoever does win inherits quite a
very, very difficult situation.
Very difficult situation. So you may think to yourself, goodness, this competition's been going on for quite a long time. And the truth is, because it has. And what's going to happen when we eventually get a winner is that it will be announced on November 2nd, which is really important for two reasons. One, it's just before we get the result of the United States election and we find out whether Donald Trump is president or not. So it will be difficult for this person to make their mark. November the 2nd this year is also the Day of the Dead, which just shows you the kind of poison chalice that the person who takes over has. They have very few MPs now. They have a very difficult challenge to win in 5 years' time. Can they resuscitate this party after being elected on the Day of the Dead?
Well, quite. I mean, history would suggest that whoever the next Tory Prime Minister is, it's not going to be any of these people, because they may have to go through another one. But we'll see.
Which of these potential leaders causes the most problems for Nigel Farage?
Well, I mean, that's got to be their pitch, I think, to the party members, rather than, I mean, that's the final pitch, is that they've got to be the leader that will take back those votes from Reform that they lent to Reform. And that's why, Robert Jenrick, makes so much of immigration as former immigration minister. He can argue that the previous government got it wrong. He will try to associate Kemi Badenoch with the previous government, although he was part of it too. I mean, he resigned fairly late on. But I think it's all about authenticity, and Kemi Badenoch's going to make the case that, she is a proper conservative. She wants to control immigration too. She just doesn't go along with some of the wilder theories about withdrawing from the European Court of Human Rights.
I think I agree with you. And I think it's because, and this is the double-edged sword for Kemi Badenoch, is she is unpredictable if you're a member of the public or if you're another politician like Farage. And I think she will keep him on his toes. The problem is sometimes the things that she says unpredictably actually don't go down as well as she is expecting. And that can prove difficult for her. But I think Farage could easily outflank Jenrick. And that would be the problem that he would have, whereas Kemi would keep him on his toes.
Well, I think Kemi would keep anybody on their toes. That's why I think she's their secret weapon. Right, so we're agreed that Tom's going to go out probably first. I think James Cleverly will then go out, just leaving these two. You think he's going to win, I think she's going to win. we shall wait and see. Whoever does win, I think, will tack towards the centre in order to try and cause Labour the most difficulties at the next general election. Thank you for watching.